there are disputes all up and down the chain as to whether or not there's any truly voluntary commercial sex. We talk about this among ourselves, but no 4-year-old little girl wakes up one day and says, I want to be a prostitute. Okay? No one wakes up and says, I want to be a victim. I want to be a sugar plum fairy. That's what 4-year-olds want to be. If you were involved in commercial sex, prostitution, for instance, as a minor, that is sex trafficking because you can't consent to it. But if you're an adult, then there is the argument that there is voluntary or non-forced commercial sex prostitution. You under the statute, we have to be able to prove force, fraud, or coercion. Again, that doesn't mean that you're getting beat up every day. There are well-documented aspects of guerrilla pimps that use physical violence and intimidation to force prostitution. And then there's Romeo pimps, people who engage that person in a relationship. They believe they're in love. There are times, and there has been times, when they've gotten married, but they're still trafficking them. They're manipulating them. They're manipulating them emotionally, financially. So many of our clients were addicted to drugs, forced addiction to drugs during their period of trafficking. Well, then at a later point, now they're addicted. They can be manipulated through that addiction to continue in that world in order to feed that addiction. But you have to be able to tell that story. You have to be able to recognize that. And then you have to be willing to then relive. And to some extent, you have to be willing to take the risk that you can be re-victimized. One of the strategies, as ugly as it is, but one of the strategies is to make the litigation process so hard and so attacking that they just want out. They don't want to go forward. To make the victim regret that they were ever willing to stand up and file a lawsuit. And when I say litigation strategy, I'm talking about the defendants. I'm talking about the hotels themselves, challenging those victims, questioning their choices in a very aggressive manner. One of the most significant barriers that a client has to overcome is first, again, that willingness and ability to tell their story. But the second is finding the evidence that's necessary to prove their case due to the passage of time. Under the federal law, the statute of limitations, the time frame, is 10 years. And so therefore, we can go back and file a case from 2014, 2015. Under some circumstances, we can still file a case from 2012. Or even beyond that 10-year period, if they were still under the control of their trafficker through 2014, 2015. And so when you try to go back and you try to find those witnesses from a hotel in 2015, or finding documents at the hotel when it's been sold to another franchisee, that's going to be one of the significant barriers in part pursuing and proving these cases, is finding that evidence, putting it together, given the extensive and lengthy passage of time. There recently was reported a trafficking case out of Dallas where a minor was grabbed at a Mavericks game and then taken to a hotel in Oklahoma City. The difference in that versus most of our cases, which occurred 14, 15, 16, is that they actually could still obtain contemporaneous footage, security camera footage from the Mavericks arena, where they could see the trafficker and his control of the victim. And then at the hotel where they went to, where they could actually see the traffickers escorting the victim into the hotel and visible guns as they went through the lobby. I mean, you're seeing what a hotel person saw then. When you're looking at that contemporaneous video, you're seeing what the front desk person saw. What are the observations that the front desk person should have known from what they were seeing. So someone in that situation, there are advantages to it being more current, and there are difficulties when you have to try to go back in time and recreate that picture. One of the things that these women have to be prepared for is, in depositions, in questions, being asked about choices, about moments. I've heard questions about, well, did you ask for help? Well, did you try to run away? Did you scream or make a lot of noise? And the answer is no, because he had a gun to my head, or no, because I saw him beat the living heck out of another girl who tried to run away, or no, I didn't call out because he said he would kill my family. So, but these are the kind of questions that the defense side, in some of them, not all, but some, are really trying to make them regret coming forward, making them second guess their decision to tell their story. They're actually, in their mind, reliving that moment, now questioning themselves about, well, could I have done something to change this? Could I have done something to get away? Am I at fault somehow because this person drugged me and forced me into this hotel room? And so, unfortunately, that's just not always able to give them the answers that they really should already know. It's not voluntary. People do not agree to be in a hotel room for 14, 18, 20 hours a day, seeing 25, 35, 40 men. They don't voluntarily do that. So we're going to the local police authorities and we're getting beat reports. We're getting incident reports for that location. We're trying to determine, is that a well-recognized hotbed, so to speak, of illegal activity and specifically prostitution, sex trafficking. So in that regard, we're always communicating with local law enforcement about those issues. We have experts who have served in the field of law enforcement who come in and talk about, security on hotel sites and the problems associated with that and what they've seen in the industry about those issues. We have other experts who actually will compile criminal statistics, and they'll show where illegal sections are and whether that hotel is in a high crime area. Was it knowable, or should they have known about the high propensity for prostitution, commercial sex, and potentially sex trafficking? Combine that then with other experts who are talking about the harm itself, the injury. I think one of the biggest issues that the jury's going to have to consider is the conduct of the plaintiff in relationship to the harm she suffered. Because again, the defendants are going to ask those questions. Why didn't you ask for help? Couldn't you have gotten away? Why would you have done that? And so we're going to have mental health and emotional experts who come in and talk about what happens to the brain to victims of sex trafficking. What happens to the ability of someone who's addicted to drugs to make those kind of decisions that seem rational, 10 years later, but at the time and the age and the circumstances were just not options for those folks. So yes, there is a body of experts that we're developing to work with our clients to help them present their case to the jury. There are some historical misconceptions about trafficking. I think probably one of the biggest is that it all involves foreign nationals, people that have been brought into our country, when in fact Americans are the second most trafficked population. We're just trafficked here at home. I think another misconception is that it always involves force. And that's a misconception because many times it involves more of a coercive, manipulative environment, whether emotionally or financially, or maybe after being addicted to drugs. So it's not always the, beatings and the yellings and the dragging by the hair sort of moments that people think about. I think when they think of a victim being sex trafficked, I think that, again, locationally, It's not always in brothels or massage parlors, which has gotten some publicity in our community lately. But again, at these hotels and at truck stops. And then I think another one is that somehow it's longer term. Many of our victims and clients have been trafficked for less than a week. We have one client, for instance, a minor, went to a party with a friend, was introduced to some older boys, and they said, "Hey, let's go to another party." And they said, "Okay," but the boys didn't take them to that other party. Instead, they took them to a hotel, and they roughed them up, and they drugged them, and they started bringing in customers and basically trafficked them at that hotel for several days. This is just a normal high school kid, good grades, lives with her grandmother. And now she's in a situation where it took her several days to convince a hotel staff person to give her, in that little moment of time where she wasn't directly under observation, she was able to get to a cell phone and text her grandmother. And so her grandmother comes to the hotel and goes to management and says, my granddaughter's here. She's being trafficked and abused. And the hotel called the police on her. They won't help her. She's going up and down the hallways yelling, "Let my granddaughter go." And they call the police on her. Fortunately, the police, got past that, saw the realities, and the girl was rescued. But that can happen in a flash. Again, just recently, minor at the Mavericks game. That initial interaction appears to be voluntary, some sort of connection point before the game, but it very quickly went from, I'll meet you to get a Coke, down at the concession stand, to, well, let's walk this way, to have you by the arm and being taken out of the building. And the next thing you know, you're in a van and you're being taken to Oklahoma City, where you're going to be trafficked in a hotel. And fortunately, her parents were able to get to private investigators who were able to find her online, and then through that online interaction, realize and find where she was, and they could get to her and rescue her. This law that we were talking about, the TVPRA, has been available since 2008, but really hasn't seen a lot of traction. There are virtually no trial verdicts yet under it. There are only 3 circuit court opinions that directly deal with this law. And then what you have is only a handful of summary judgment motions that are directly to this law. And so everything else has been a pleadings, the earliest stages of the litigation. And that's where we've been fighting the battle literally every day. So I think over time, as the law develops, and we've definitely seen a development of the law over the last 2 years, favorably to the plaintiffs. As we see that law spread across the country, where it becomes more uniform, and we don't have some jurisdictions interpreting the statute one way and another jurisdiction interpreting the statute in a different, more restrictive way. I think once we get through that period, then I think all parties will be able to better assess each case. Right now, everybody's fighting about everything. But as the law becomes more certain, those fights will become much more narrowly focused. And I think that will help the cases move through the system more readily than they are necessarily today. What I would say to a victim of sex trafficking is, trust us to help you. I know it's scary. And I know that for a long time, they don't feel like there's anyone that can help them. But we're doing it. And I think there's an opportunity for their voice to be heard. Hold the people that hurt them accountable, and to receive the resources they need to recapture their life. That's what our goal is for this litigation. If you've been trafficked, or if you know someone who has, or you just want more information about sex trafficking and the agencies and organizations that are available to assist victims, please reach out to our firm, Provost Umphrey. We not only would like to talk to you about that situation, but also to provide you with information on those agencies and organizations.